recognize real. Fake recognize real. Real can't never be fake because fake ain't never real.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. As we always start with our show, the Revert, by the name of Allah, the Most High, the one and only worthy of being worshipped. We praise Him, we thank Him, because all praise is due to Allah. He blessed us with so many things, so many things. This is another episode of the Revert original episodes where we interview young, beautiful brothers and we talk to them and they tell us their story of being a Muslim, the point of Revert, how life is before Islam, how life is after Islam, and how life is in general. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Abdullah, and I am fortunate enough to be able to present to you a brother that I've known for a little while now. Known him at work, known him at the masjid, known him as a friend, alhamdulillah, for a little while now. And now, after trying to convince him so many times to try to share the story with the world, alhamdulillah, he finally said, yes, let's do this. Brother Hassan, Tim, both names, whatever he likes to go by, we call him. And I'll let him introduce himself furthermore.
How you doing, brothers and sisters? My name is Hassan Abdul Malik. My government name is Timothy Frosh. I have the pleasure to know my brother right here, who kind of took me under his wing when I came up here to Dearborn, Detroit, where I felt that I had to come and do a pilgrimage too, because this is heart of Islam right here. I found Islam in prison, and I'm gonna tell you something. It was the start of religion in my life. Period. I grew up in a family in Texas, and it was a bad family, and it wasn't a bad one by choice. Bad one by circumstances. And being from Texas in the Bible Belt, it's all about Jesus this and God this, and we say this and we say that. But as a young kid growing up, not seeing the fruition of what they're saying being put into action, had me doubting the whole thing of God. And I thought it was just for show. I come from a German-Irish family, which is very deeply rooted in Christianity, Polynesian Christianity. And I was forced to act a certain way and do certain things. And my trouble started when I was just 2 years old. My mother was traumatized as a kid, abused in certain ways. Use your imagination. And my mother delved into drugs, and my father was a young man, 19 years old, was in love like every man is at that age, and found the woman of his dreams and did everything she wanted. And my mother took advantage of that. And my mother got into being comfortable and was jealous of me having a good life because she didn't have one. So she started abusing me. And things got bad between her and my dad. And one thing led to another. I lived with her dad, and he molested me, beat me. So I turned 3 years old, and my father somehow got custody of me, and my mom and dad got divorced. They were separated, and they got divorced, and my mother cleaned him out. And he was sleeping in his car, and he couldn't afford to take care of me, but he was working. So he sent me to live with his parents, alhamdulillah. And my grandparents are wonderful people. true Christian, and I say true by they practice what they preach, and they don't preach much. They do it by action, and I started seeing things, and my grandmother noticed it, and my grandmother was like, "Little Timothy," because I'm a junior. Come here, I want you to tell me about it. And I'm just so eager to say, I'm eager to talk, as a brother will tell you. I love to talk, but I talk like I do now. And one day I said something, and it kind of triggered something in her, and she grabbed the recorder, the little flat one that has a little red recording button, puts a 90-minute tape in or whatever, however long. And I started talking about angels. I'm 3 years old. We didn't discuss these things in the house. It was just something that is there, and it is. I started talking about seeing light, I could see through them, beings. And my grandmother, being very devout and pious, recorded it and encouraged me. And you know how you can lead a child on into it. Come on, keep talking about it, And I used to have the biggest smiles on my face. But one time, an angel was there, and my grandfather had been out hunting somewhere in East Texas or something, and the angel told me to tell her, and I told her what my maternal grandfather did to me, and then it opened up 2 shoe boxes full over the course of 2 years, 90-minute tape of things that him and my mother and my mother's boyfriend did to me. So when my father finally got word of it, they took me to a mental health place in Dallas, and the doctor was amazed after a couple months of interviewing me why I wasn't a vegetable in a hospital, and my grandma would say because he's blessed. Well, let's fast forward. So it created trouble in my family. I'm watching my father say, "Oh, power of Jesus," and all this, but he's arguing with his wife. They're fighting. He's drinking. It's just total strife and dissension in the house. So I'm like, I don't believe in any of this. And I never really did believe Jesus is God. Something never convinced me. So I started misbehaving because everybody else is. And I had trouble in school. I got thrown out of schools. I had no peer relationships at all. I had no friends. So the only attention I got was when I got into trouble. And so I did it because it was fun. It was something to do because I wanted attention from my dad. My mother disappeared. I was told she got killed. I was told she had cancer. I told she ran away. I don't know. I don't care. I never had mom. I never had mom to cry to. I never had that maternal. I never had that maternal tenderness, and that's fine. But my father, he couldn't do it either. He could barely do the paternal thing. He didn't even want to see me. So I started reading. I got into reading, and because I was grounded all the time, I didn't have any social life. I was a loser. I was poor. I grew up very, very poor. I watched my friend get this stuff, and I didn't have anything. That's fine. Other people. Later on, you realize it doesn't mean anything. But when you're in a city where most people have money and you have nothing, it's just embarrassing when they pick on you. So I stopped going to school. I was grounded. And I remember in 1991, a family member came over with a 1972 Encyclopedia Britannica set, and I read it from AA to ZZYZX 6 times in the course of 2 summers. And I found out I was like wicked smart. So I started doing these testings and stuff to stress my brain out. And found out I was really smart, but I was also really conniving. And I used that to my advantage. And so I started manipulating people. Like, this is what I'm going to do here to get what I want. It wasn't to harm anyone. It was just to, because they didn't care about me. Why should I care about them? I need that. They got that. How am I going to get this? And it started my hustling days. And high school comes about. What happens in high school? Hormones start kicking in. Oh my God. Women were they're the most best thing ever because I didn't have a mom. Man. I'm going to cherish everyone that ever came in my life. And, I was the guy that all the women liked. They talked about, you can't tell by now, I'm beating down my life now, but but I was a good looking guy, and I knew it. And I was 16 years old. I was playing baseball. It was really good. And that's when people started to like me. And I played baseball. And this one girl goes, I got a new Mustang, 1997 Mustang. I was like, right on. She's like, you want to go smoke this blunt and, mess around? I was like, of course, who doesn't? And we went on the blunt ride, and I didn't get to mess around. And a couple of days later, it was the University Interscholastic League in Texas was the ruling figure for high school athletics in the state of Texas. Decided they want to do a pop urinalysis. And guess what? The one thing I was good at, besides hustling, just went out the door. Because I wanted to be cool and smoke weed. And a month later, I ran away to the state of California. So I get to San Diego, and I'm a kid. I remember I had nothing. I see this woman on a dock, prettiest woman I ever seen in my life. And I seen a critter I ain't never seen. I ain't never seen the ocean. I'm landlocked Texas. I said, what's that? And she goes, that's an otter. I said, that's what I thought it was. She goes, where are you from? I'm from Texas. I talk like this. I said, you're the prettiest thing I ever seen in my life. And she was 16 years older than me. And she said, I'm from Connecticut. All right, that's cool. What do you want to do? I ain't got nowhere to go. What's up? She's like, we can get together and all this. And long story short, that was the beginning of my trouble with women. Because I was with her. I had 3 kids with her. Didn't know what I was doing. It was all about sex and money and what do we do with these things we created, these kids? We got to take care of them. Oh, okay. Well, how do I do that? I pretty much raised myself. God was never there. Remember that. It was in the background. I caught my first case, 1999. And I got sentenced to probation. 2 years later, did my first prison sentence. 2 years. Because I got tired of walking in on my old lady. The mother of my children was the 7th, 8th, 9th guy. I didn't learn, I didn't want to give up on her like my father gave up on my mom. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't want to do that for a kid. But it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will for me to go through this because I'm stubborn, and I need to learn that just because that seemed like it's the best situation for you, you got to get out of that to get your life together. And I was stuck, and she used it. And she used it to get back at me. The mother of my children used it to get back at me for all the pain she had going on in her life. So I get out of prison and I run to California. And, I got into the marijuana business. And this is when life really took off. I met an old man, and he goes, son, you're holding a sign with scissors on it. You want to trim? You want to trim marijuana, right? I'm like, yeah. Okay. Come on, get in the truck. He goes, you hungry? I'm like, yeah. So he buys me a hamburger meal and all this, cigarette. You smoke weed? I'm like, yeah, I smoke weed. He goes, you got any? I'm like, yeah, I got some weed. I had a little bit of bud, whatever, not glorifying it. He goes, that ain't weed. He throws it out. He goes, reach under the seat. I pull out, says, mason jar. It looked like little Christmas trees. I said, "This ain't weed, man. What is it?" He goes, "That's marijuana." At this time, marijuana was highly illegal. So he goes, "All right, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call my wife and see if you can come to the house." And, all right. She said it was all right. She goes, "He is not coming in the house." And he's all right. He's all right. He's not coming in the house. Okay, all right. So they put a tent outside. I go to sleep. I wake up. I didn't realize where I was at. It was this big, huge house in the middle of a forest in Northern California. I thought California was all palm trees and beaches. No. So I'm going around being nosy. I didn't hear anybody up, so I go around the fence. And just as I'm about to open the fence, he comes in. He goes, "So, you want to know what I do, huh?" Yes. So he takes me around back, and I seen a bunch of mushroom-looking bushes, huge. I said, "Oh my goodness." He goes, "I'm a medical marijuana cultivator. I do this for the government. I'm a multi-millionaire." Yeah, and how do I get this? He goes, "Well, you're going to come over here and you're going to trim." Oh, okay, cool. So where's the scissors? He's like, "No." Pulls out a 36-inch Husqvarna chainsaw. He goes, "Get up there and trim that tree. That's what you want to do." I did it. 2 hours later, I came down from that tree. The point was, he wanted to see what I could do and how my will was. How was I driven enough to do what it takes to get what I want?
Okay. So let me interrupt for a little bit. And Brother Tim been going on for, mashallah, about 15 minutes almost.
Oh, damn. Well,
non-stop. Amazing story so far. Beautiful. So he started off. So he started off with a little bit of God in your life. You felt God. Your grandmother was religious somehow. You saw that your family were calling to a religion, but they weren't really practicing.
My grandparents were. My father wasn't.
Your father wasn't practicing.
He was saying.
But your grandparents were practicing.
Oh yeah, very pious.
And then you had what you really wanted, which is baseball.
I found that later on, yeah.
This was the thing that you really wanted to get to, but something happened that got you away from that. And then you run over to California to find something new. Hopefully, better life, better situation. But you found that girl in Cali who is originally from Connecticut, right?
Right.
What happened there? Did you stay in Cali or did you go over to Connecticut?
We went to Connecticut and I lived there for a while, and we had a whole bunch of domestics.
So from west to east, huh?
Brother, I've been all over.
Man.
But it was a couple years in Connecticut. Kept getting cases of domestic possession of this.
So just a lot of trouble.
A lot of strife. A lot of self-induced trouble, man. With nobody's fault but mine, I allowed it to happen. And I did some of it,
But it must be trials that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting you through to be experienced.
Alhamdulillah.
It's all about experience in this life. Allah puts us into so many trials so we can learn things. You must have learned a lot of things. You can write a book out of these things that you learned in life.
Yeah.
And now you're back into Cali with this new experience of yours.
Now I'm back in Cali alone. With kids on a different coast, and a woman that hates me. Because I wasn't man enough to do the right thing at that time. It was all about me. And that's all right. So I met this man, I started doing the weed thing, and I started growing. I started learning how to grow. And
so he taught you how to do the actual business.
Taught me how to actually do the ins and outs of it. So by the third year that I'm doing this, I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner with him and his family. And he says, "Hey, Frog, here you go." Because my last name in German means frog. So, here, man, he handed me this brochure. I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "Well, first you're going to get your GED, and then you're going to go to college because you're hella smart and you're wasting your life." Oh.
He saw something good in you, huh?
Yeah, he saw something good in me, and like a son. And I never took advantage of him. Not once I take advantage of him. And I went and I studied organic chemistry, which is the study of everything carbon based. And I studied horticulture, which is how to take care of plants and everything in the plant kingdom, and then bought me how to the ins and outs of it. So
you consider the scientist?
pretty much.
For real? Wow, amazing.
Yeah, but it was all for weed. It was all because I was in love with marijuana. Marijuana was.
But this could be used with any plant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything that grows.
Anything, and I found out that I was good at growing lemon cucumbers. And in the plant world, if you can grow a lemon cucumber, it's one of the hardest things to grow. You can grow anything. And I found I could give life to something that I could give something positive to that didn't have any positivity in.
So how long?
And that's okay. And I love that. And I fell in love with the nurturing of a creation from Allah. And I went out on my own. And I had a pocket full of money. You know what I mean? Doing what I wanted to do. He hooked me up.
So Allah was giving you everything you wanted.
He was giving me. He was allowing. Let me say that. He was allowing me to experience something. Okay, let me go with a leash. Okay. And
that was, I'm sorry, that was before that. You didn't have that.
I had nothing wrong.
You didn't have anything.
Nothing.
So having a pocket full of money was something new to you.
Yeah, it was.
Being able to buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
Was something new to you.
Yeah.
And at what age was that?
23.
At 23.
Yeah, about that age, 23.
So you ready to buy everything that you can lay your eyes on, huh?
No, I was wanting to impress people. To be like, see, I got this because I'm this and that. And it was not so much a facade. It was now you can't make fun of me anymore because I have this and you don't. And this is because I'm the man. And whatever, you're young, you're dumb, you know. It's a covering my wound type thing, you know.
Right.
So I'm walking around with a pocket full of money hitchhiking because that was the thing to do. And I'm in Wyoming and I see this woman dancing. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Ya Allah, she's the prettiest woman I've ever seen in my life. And I had to stop and talk to her. I said, hi, how are you doing? Long story short, she's from Texas, had traumatic experience. We hit it off. I said, well, why don't you come to California with me? I need help with these plants, you know. I'm about to start having my own property and doing this and, you know, doing my own thing now. And she did. And she had been severely beaten by the father of her kids and had head trauma where she was in a coma and she didn't remember anything that happened. And she had some issues. Now, we went to her family in Austin. I met them, had a good rapport with them, and did this and that. And one day we got into an argument, and I don't remember what it was. I think we were camping. I think it was cigarettes. I didn't have any cigarettes or something, and excuse me, it's very hard for me, man. I'm good. She comes back from, you know, going foraging in the forest, you know, looking for critters or shiny rocks or panning for gold, because that's what you can do out there. It's God's personal campground.
Right.
And she comes back with a blue nylon rope. This is June 9th, 2012. And she goes, you know, I'm mad at you. I said, I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. I'm making chicken fajitas on my campfire grill. I don't want to talk. I don't have any cigarettes. I don't care, you know. And she goes, that's the problem. You don't care about me. I said, listen, I love you, but you're getting on my nerves right now. Leave me alone. And she goes, I'm just going to go kill myself. I said, why don't you just go do it?
Just like that. You didn't think of it anyway, because
I never thought before I speak.
You didn't think she was going to actually do anything.
No.
It's just something that people say.
I didn't know the power of my words over people in my life at that time. I didn't know that I had an influence over them because I was nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to listen to me? Nobody paid attention to me. She did. And people that were camping across from me were like, look, man, she's been gone 20 minutes. Oh, you're right. She comes back every 15 minutes. Yeah, why don't you go that way and I go this way? Man, don't tell me what to do, man. That's my way. I'm good. I go this way. They go that way. Supposedly, I don't remember. I scream. And I saw her hanging from a rope swing where people would jump into the river. And this is the first time I've seen somebody that I love dead. Mind you, I've never been to a funeral for a family member or a friend. But it was, I stripped to my pants and I ran. And I stopped the lady. So this is what they told me afterward. I stopped the lady driving to the campground. I said, my wife killed herself. Please call the police. I grew up in the city of Dallas. I hate cops, you know. I remember coming through with 9 different cops putting their hands on me. I come through, and it was like, it was a weird feeling. Like, it was a surge. And what I forgot to tell you was that she was a good Christian. She believes in God, and I allowed her to because it was obvious. You know, deer would eat graham crackers out of her hands. Little kids would leave their parents and run to her, and it was amazing. And God, give me the strength.
Take a minute.
No, I'm sorry. I gotta get this through, or I'm not gonna stop. She died, and she was the best person I ever knew. And I told her to kill herself. So they take her body, and they could tell where I had tried. I guess supposedly I tried to lift her, and it had already coagulated. And let me tell you something. I do remember that. I remember the blood out of the nose, the mouth, the ears. She excreted on herself. Urine. I saw my best friend hanging, and she was so smart. She was such a smart woman. She did it on a rock that had moss. That's why I couldn't get her up. I was slipping. So, my best friend dead. He was the only one that really cared besides, a family member. And June 9th, 2012 was the day that seed she planted started growing. And
it's alright, bro. Take a minute.
And I had a mother type figure that was a friend of the family for years. She moved to Missouri, and she was my rock because I didn't have a mom. She took over the rock figure role for me, and I called her. I said, "Look, they won't even let me claim her body because I wasn't technically married. We were gonna get married like the next week." I had a pocket full of money. The freaking newspaper said we were vagrants. That was adding insult to injury because we were camping. I had more money in my pocket than they had in a whole month. And okay, whatever. So I said, I'm gonna come. After crying for a week because they shipped her body and I couldn't claim her anything. I said, I'm gonna hitchhike. So I hitchhiked to Missouri, and this is where it starts getting weird. I'm coming over the bridge from Kansas City, Kansas, over to Train Yard. I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's very famous. Kansas City was stock town back in the day, cattle. And over the bridge, there's this little motorcycle club. There's an elderly African American man sitting on the wall, and he goes, "Hey, youngster, come here. I got my pack on. I'm not looking sad. I'm cool now. I had been calmed down from crying, weeping, and all that for a couple of weeks." And I said, "I'm gonna do $20 pack of cigarettes, whatever. I don't care." He goes, "Hey, man, angels are here for a short amount of time. Lucky what I say is the truth." I said, "What? What you talking about? Angels are here for a short amount of time. Did you learn anything?"
What?
"Sir, my dead wife's name was Angela." "What'd she look like?" I said, "She had strawberry blonde hair. She had a beauty mark here. Bluish green eyes. Scar on her chin. Perfect teeth. Keep that in mind." So I said, man, you're freaking me out. He goes, man, listen, God works. I said, God's really just taking everything my whole life. Yeah, okay, he really don't care about me.
Now you kind of at the moment where you're mad at God.
I never liked God. She's planted the seed, but it ain't had sprouted yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I said, all right, I got things I got to do. So I get to where my mother figure was living, and she goes, well, let's go to Austin, Texas, where they shipped it. Let's go. We'll drive around all the cemeteries. We'll find her body. Nobody would tell us where she was. So we drive to all the cemeteries in Austin and Leander. She was from Leander, which is north Austin. And we couldn't find her body anywhere or remains or nothing. Now, mind you, I went to the house and ate dinner with the family. I go to the house that I ate at 6 months before. An old Spanish lady answers. I said, ma'am, I think you're in the wrong house. She goes, no, I've been living here for years, senor. I said, listen, I got the memory of an elephant. You did not live here 6 months ago. This is getting weird. So I look in the house, and the house is totally different. I'm like, maybe I got it wrong. I'm looking around. No, I didn't get it wrong. Oh, okay. There's something going on in my memory, my brain trying to deal with trauma or something, whatever. So I said, Ma, I'll get on Facebook. Okay. Page not found. Well, I'm just friends with all of them. Well, maybe they unfriended me. Maybe they blamed me for it. Mom, hey, check this out. Get on Facebook because we're not connected on Facebook. You're not connected to them. Page not found. I said, oh, okay. You know what? I'm going to call somebody who can find you under a rock in Alaska. I called this person. Said, let me call you back in about 10 minutes. I can't find no record of them. Okay, so I go to the house. There's nobody there. Can't find a cemetery plot. Nobody cremated her. Nobody can find her on Facebook. I interacted with these people. I said, this is getting weird. She goes, what you want to do, baby boy? I said, I want to go to Dallas. We got to go up 35 anyway. You got to get home to Missouri. Drop me off. So she did. I go to my grandmother's house. My grandmother goes, hey, little Timothy, how you doing? I said, how you doing, Grandmother? I love you. Why are you so sad? I said, Dad didn't tell you? No. I said, Angela killed herself. She goes, oh, bless your heart. I'm so sorry, and I never got to see how pretty she was. And I said, well, you want to see what she looks like? And I pulled my cell phone out, and she goes, I got my memory from my grandmother. She goes, I'm going to be right back. And she goes and she brings the boxes out and pulls out the last tape.
Oh, the boxes that you recorded when you were younger?
Yeah, when I was younger, when I was being abused and describing what I was seeing and what I was going through.
Right.
And she goes, listen to this. And she put the tape in. Wallahi, what I say is the truth. And she goes, listen to this. What do you see, little Timothy? It's my grandmother's voice in the tape. I said, I see an angel. What does she look like? She's got strawberry blonde hair, blue and green eyes, a mole, and a scar of hair. And that's when I freaked. That's when I said, with what the black man said and that, and the way she was. You
mentioned her when you were younger, 3 years old.
How did I know that?
Wow.
That's when I said, okay. And I'm not going to lie, it freaked me out for a couple of years. Is
that tape still around?
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
My grandparents are pack rat. I'm pretty sure it's around.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so when she died, she planted the seed of God. Here, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his will of, okay, we're going to break this guy. Me not knowing it, losing control of when I thought I had started gaining control. Oh, so you know everything over here. You want to make Allah laugh? Not to personify Allah, but tell him you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing. Okay, here you go. You get to see some of the unseen. And it's scary. Because it means that your life is already ordained for you, and you don't have anything to control except your behavior and your mouth.
And your intentions.
So when I saw the behind the curtain type thing, I started to see things different. I started to say, well, what is driving this to do this? What's going on in the world? And my brain just went overload. I started thinking about everything, and I said, this happened. There's got to be a God.
Allahu Akbar.
But I don't think it's Jesus. I never did. I believed in Jesus. I come from the Bible Belt, but I never thought he was God. I ended up getting into a very bad situation involving drugs and transporting, and a friend of mine and a woman who decided to freak out under the influence and create hell for me and my mother type figure and my partner. And I got sentenced to this prison sentence that I just did. I'm actually on parole for right now. But everything is the Lord's will, you know. And this woman was just someone that could keep me company because I was looking for Angela in every woman I, you know, excuse me, man whoring around with. You know? So I get sentenced to.
So before we go there, I'm sorry.
This is.
What's the deal with Angela? What happened? Did you find out where she was buried? Did you find out what happened?
Never found anything.
No signs. Nobody gave you nothing.
Nothing, man. Nothing.
She just
poof, gone. And,
gone.
But with the way that the elderly African American, when he approached me with the, "Did you learn anything?" and then the tape from my grandmother, I didn't need any more evidence.
Wow.
To me, that she was an angel.
It's crazy.
I believe she was an angel, and I believe that Allah sometimes, when He sees His creation overburdened, and He knows that, okay, he's got to have some reprieve on this. He does that. He eases it a little bit because He knows us, and He knows that I'm very passionate, and I'm very steadfast in what I believe in, and anything that I know that is real, I hold on to it. And when I hold on to it, I don't let go until you disprove it, and I'm usually not wrong on it.
Mashallah.
I know there's angels. I know there's a God.
Oh, there's angels around us,
you know.
Everywhere, anywhere. Okay, before we go any further, I know you have a lot to share with us, more than what you already have shared, mashallah. Now, I wanted to ask you about the time when you found out that you were a genius. How did that happen?
I'm not. First of all, this man's exaggerating. I love him for the sake of Allah, but he exaggerated a little bit. I'm not a genius. I retain information more than most people.
Retain information more than most people.
So when I was a kid,
so you got a good memory, I guess, mashallah.
Yeah, a good memory. My brain is wired differently than most people. I didn't touch on it because I was just rambling earlier, but I had a lot of behavioral problems, obviously, and see, when a child is young, they're very hyperactive, so you can't really diagnose a kid until they're about 6, 7. They thought that I was, at that time, they called it manic depressive bipolar, because of a traumatic event is what triggers bipolarism, and they couldn't find out what it was. They said, no, it's not bipolarism. He's not up and down. He sleeps well. He eats well. He's fine. We can't figure it out. So my whole childhood, nobody knew what was wrong with me.
Oh,
I mean, I was in the 2nd grade. I read second year of college, 2nd semester. I was blowing them away,
Wow.
And I was an avid reader. To this day, I love reading. But I had that street smart. And that's what I played on, because that's what got you through life. That's what got you through the hood. It's common sense and logic.
Right.
Not book smart. Nobody want to hear that. You get preyed upon if you're smart. But I had both. And so when I met Angela, I was told by her, the only one I trusted in my life, "Babe, there's something wrong with you." I'm not crazy. Defensive. Here it is. Oh, you're touching on something that hasn't been sensitive. Yeah, but I loved her, so I listened to my woman, and she goes, "You're not crazy, but there's something wrong with you." Okay, I'll go get some testing. I had the money, and they did a 3-month test on me, and they said, "Mr. Frosh, we want you to come back here and go 2.5 hours away, and meet with these people." So for 3 months, I met with these people, and they called me out of the blue one day and said, "We think we figured it out." So I go to Sacramento, and they say, Mr. Frost, you're autistic. Now, I have a fully autistic son. He's like, I don't know if you remember that movie Rain Man, where Dustin Hoffman is wicked smart, you know? He's like that. But there's different levels of autism spectrum disorder, and I'm on it. And my son is a savant. He's a genius. I'm not a genius. I'm just, my brain is wired differently. And I'm not mentally ill. It's not a chemical imbalance, not a behavioral disorder. It means, they basically told me it's the next step in mankind using their brain in ways that Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is allowing us in steps. My brain is wired differently. It doesn't. It's not a mental disorder, and I thought it was. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm crazy. That explains the weirdness, you know. You know, I'm a little weird, and that's cool, but whatever.
We're all weird in our own way, huh?
Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His will makes us the way He wants it.
Yes, sir.
And we accept it or not. But I found out I'm intelligent. Okay, so she pointed it out. She planted the seed of God in me. All this happened. She leaves me. Okay, so she stirred my heart around, made me believe after all these years that I'm worth something after not ever feeling worth anything because it's constant sabr in my life. And I believed her, and then she left me with questions. How do I live now? So before I committed my crime, I should say, I went to a Native American shaman. Mind you, I wasn't Muslim at this time. I had a friend who was, Native American. He said, "You're gonna come meet my uncle and whatever." It's okay. So he puts me in this sweat lodge, no drugs or none of that. And he said, "I know what your problem is. When you were a child," and he didn't know anything about my past. He goes, "When you were a child, your body and your spirit separated, and then when it comes back together, you're not going to know who you are. That when that happened, God is going to come into your life, and you're going to see it." You're crazy. Whatever.
That's what you tell him, huh?
What are you on, man? Okay. All right. But it made me think. He said God. Obviously, he believes in God. Okay. Whatever. Angela, God, these people, my grandparents. God, but God takes everything away from me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I get involved with a woman who's just horrible. She's a Jezebel. And I committed a crime of bringing drugs to another state, holding the rat hostage who was working with the police, being charged with a 3-to-life crime, armed criminal action, domestic assault, felonious restraint, which is kidnapping. The judge goes 34 to life. You're looking at because of your record, assaults and all this you got on your record. Oh, okay. Finally get bonded out after sitting 62 days. I take off. I go to Minnesota. I got a friend that's got a hog farm up there. I'm working. He goes, "Hey man, look, I'm gonna put some money in your pocket. Go out west. Go back home to Cali. I'm gonna get you." "Yeah, all right. Take her with you." And this is a different woman. She was a drug addict. I was like, "All right, cool. Let's do some drugs." So we get out to Nevada. We stop. I got a partner out there that connected man. He let us work in the hotel, stay for free in the highest hotel. Well, she couldn't stop getting high. I couldn't either. So we got high, and after a week of arguing, we're at a casino. Right next door is a Roman Catholic church. I'm high. Everyone knows I'm high. I told her, "Calm down, man. I'm going to get caught, and they're going to send me back to Missouri." I said, "Something's going to happen, man. You get that gut feeling. Your gut's always right." I'm sitting in front of a Roman Catholic church, and this is the first time in my life I ever talked to God. I looked at the church, and I said, "Man, I don't know about the Christian thing." I said, "God, if you're real, I need help. I'm tired. I can't keep doing this." Within 5 minutes, long story short, I was being asked by a cop, "Where you're from?" Oh, I played it off. "I don't have ID. I'm this and that." "You ever been to the state of Missouri?" Oh, here we go. I'm going to prison. The girl ended up ratting on me. Thank God she did.
Wow.
And they took me all the way back to the state of Missouri. And Allah, in His infinite mercy for us, instead of 34 to life, broke it down to 4 years.
Wow.
And
10%. Wow.
And I go to diagnostics, which is a preparation for you to go to the yard, what they call prison. And I see a young African American praying. And I had read the Encyclopedia Britannica set, and coming from Texas, you don't hear too much about Muslims. You hear about Christians, you hear terrorists and all that. And I didn't never buy into that. I don't care. And I see him praying. I said, "Hey man, let me ask you a question." After he was done performing Salat, I said, "The Quran, right? Like the Old Testament. That's what I heard, right?" He goes, "Absolutely not." I said, "You believe in Jesus? Because if you don't believe in Jesus, I might have something to relate to you with. We need to talk." "Oh, we believe in Jesus, of course. He's the Messiah." I said, "Well, what?
Messiah.
He's the Messiah? He's God? No, he's not God. Why? I'm touching on this with you." He goes, "Hey, man, look, I got something, man." He goes, "I want you to read it." And a little pocket Quran. And it had the Arabic, and the Arabic writing with the English, and the English and the little stories that go along with it, like Musa and the fish and all that.
Oh, nice.
And I read it, and I stayed myself for 2 weeks, and I read it from
cover to cover.
I was going to say that, yeah. I read it from the first book. You got me. I read it from
Al-Fatiha.
Thank you, the Fashat Tanaz. And I'm like, let me read this again. And I'm reading it, and I didn't even talk to anyone for 2 weeks. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to go talk to him." And it was in Ramadan. The first night of Ramadan, it was the night before the feast night. And I said, "Brother, I think I want to become Muslim." He goes, "Wait a minute. Why?" I said, "When I opened this book and I read it, I felt things go away from me. And I've read the Bible cover to cover, and this is a joke. But when I read the Quran, there was something there."
You notice the words are not
man
words.
Me.
It wasn't.
It was speaking to me.
SubhanAllah.
And I'm getting electrical chills now. Every time I mention anything like this, I get a surge through me. When I perform Salat, I get a surge through me. When I say Allah's name, I get a surge through me. And this is why I love Islam so much, and why I'm so passionate about people who aren't as passionate as me, is because you should be as passionate about this as me, because you were born into this. Aren't you? Don't you feel this? No, we don't. You're blessed. No, we're all the same. Well, I just pay attention to it more. Or maybe I'm more in tune with it. Maybe some people have become callous to it or unappreciative of it. Because when I went in there and I said the Shahada, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul, I had floods of tears coming out. And I went white. And I carried that whiteness on me for 2.5 years. And I said, "Why am I white? I'm always red-faced. I'm Irish, German-Irish. I have a Irish tan, what we call it. I'm flushed all the time. Right. I'm completely white, and I'm shining." And and I said, "What's going on?" And a brother who was the imam there, he'd been locked up most of his life, good brother, had some imperfection, but he was taught wrong.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. And you have Noor. And I said, "What's Noor?" He goes, "That's your faith shining, your iman shining through." I said, "I don't have no faith." "Bro, it's coming off you." Not now, because there's some things been going on, but I said, "Oh wow, so I'm something now. I'm something and something now. I'm not that weird dude in the corner over there that hates the world." And I read, and I started teaching myself, and I got into fights with people that wanted to hurt me because I'm white and I'm becoming a Muslim. And I didn't back down, because it said a Muslim never stands down. And if he struck to strike back, but try to seek peace first. So I did what it said, and I got out. And I'm going to tell you something. During that time, from my shahada to getting released on parole, I said, okay, now I know what God is. My life is complete. I've traveled. I've had money. I've had kids. I've had love. How many of you have had love where you actually see a woman and you see that is God's gift to me? I screwed it up like everything else, but I had it.
SubhanAllah.
I had it, and love never goes away. And Allah, I don't think He loves us. I think it's above love. I think it's mercy. And mercy is so deep, because mercy is, I forgive you. And for someone to forgive me that doesn't even have to acknowledge my existence, because that's how I felt, was I belonged to something. So everyone said, if you ever get a chance to go up to Michigan, go to Dearborn, Michigan. Well, okay. I just got out. They released me to a halfway house. I'm around drugs. I don't want no part of. I'm Muslim. I'm boasting I'm Muslim. And I said, please become Muslim. Please, you're white. Why do you want to be Arabic? Man, look, I don't care about the Arabs. I'm Muslim. I don't care what you are. There's no racism in Islam. I read about Malcolm X. I didn't really like black people at that time when I went into prison. Malcolm X became my hero. He was a racist too. He was a vehement racist. And it wasn't his fault. It was the time. But he went and performed Hajj, and he came back and said, y'all are wrong. And y'all brainwashed me, man. And they killed him for it. And I killed that part of me. Because I said, I'm more related to this man than I am my own people. You know what I mean? And the changes that come, what Angela was meant to do, the seed, had sprouted, and it became a beautiful flower. And I felt my life was complete. So I said, I'm going to come to Dearborn. I'm going to see what it's about. They say it's a little Beirut up here. You know what I mean? So I came up here, and I seen niqabs and hijabs and Arabs and
Arabic rain everywhere.
I'm seeing, like, Damascus driving here. Everybody's on everybody. I'm like, this is crazy. What is all this Arabic writing? I say, oh, these are my people. What? There's people not afraid to be Muslim here? Man, wait a minute. We're being persecuted everywhere. Man, we don't care here. But I saw the ugly side of Islam too. I saw people looking like they're going through the motion. Like, where's your passion? Why don't you feel the same way I do? Well, everybody's on their own deen, and you should keep that to yourself. Man, I'm not going to confine to your rules. I'm telling everybody, because I didn't have God in my life. Now I know that God was there the whole time. You're telling me to suppress that? No, I'm going to shout off the rooftops, man.
That's what the word revert is all about. Revert, when you revert to Islam, is basically you're reverting to the nature of humans. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has built humans upon. The nature, the beautiful nature of loving for your brother what you love for yourself, mercy, compassion, helping each other. This is the nature of humans. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has built us on it when we were little babies. Yeah. And then when we started growing up and older, then things start changing. Whether you are a son of a Christian or a Jew or whatever it is, you start kind of learning from them the faith issues and stuff like that. And then when you get old enough to think on your own and to make moves on your own, then that's when you start looking for the truth. And by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers like Tim, they found the truth and reverted right back to it, because that's the nature of humans. That's the nature. And we all about reverting back to the nature of humanity, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has built us upon.
And I perfect. I say this, that it doesn't matter what a person thinks they know is the truth. Eventually, it's going to come out. And my problem in my early years was because I didn't see anybody acting upon what they were saying. I saw a bunch of talk and no action. When I came here, I saw a bunch of action and no talking. So I knew that I was called to the right one, because real recognize real. You know?
That's right.
Fake recognize real. Real can't never be fake because fake ain't never real. You know what I mean?
That's your favorite.
That's my saying.
That saying.
In Islam is real. It is a submission to God. It's not. People say we don't worship Allah. We worship Yahweh or we worship God. Listen to me. That's just Arabic. That's not even Islamic. That's it. The word Allah is God. You go to Arab Christian, they say Allah. They say Salam Alaikum. You know, it's just He revealed it to the other party. You know, you know, Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic is all stepbrothers, stepsisters. It's the same. And there's a force in this world dividing us, man.
Yeah, changing things around, alternating things, manipulating. That's what the shaitan has been doing ever since he was created on this earth, is to always manipulate humans to stay away from worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what we're created here, is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one, the Almighty, the only one worthy of being worshipped, the only one worthy of being worshipped, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you benefit from this story. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us if we made any mistakes in this session here. We thank Brother Tim for sharing this story. Again, it's been very hard to try to convince him to share this story. But I think it's due, you know, because this will touch a lot of hearts. I know you're watching, or you might be listening on the podcast, or you might be knowing the brother, or, you know what I'm saying, knowing me or whatever, and hearing this story somewhere and being touched, because stories like this, they humble people and they make people realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is great. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works in mysterious ways, and all we here doing is sharing information with y'all. We're not the most knowledgeable people in the world. We're not claiming to be. We're here just sharing these beautiful stories. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you have anything, any feedback, please communicate with us. Contact us through YouTube right here, through Facebook, by going to the Revert show, through the podcasts. We have podcasts. If you look for our podcast, The Revert, on iTunes and Spotify. We are live also on 1440 AM WMKM Detroit, in Detroit on the AM station. Please look forward to listening to us on the radio. We're only 30 minutes on from 12.
You put me on blast like this on all this? Oh, man.
12 noon every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you're from Detroit, you can hear us, inshallah ta'ala. And again, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, share this beautiful video, comment and like, and you know, we ain't gotta tell you anymore. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Brother Tim, for being here.
Thank you for allowing me.
We really appreciate this. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And as we say, as the Prophet ﷺ has taught us, when we finish a session like this, we say, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Peace.